Hi, this is Niranjan Vatkar here and I welcome you to my channel. I make a lot of interesting video related to endodontics, rubber dam, composites and microscope training. If you want to receive further updates, please do subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit the bell icon so that tomorrow when I make a new video, you will receive the notification. Now, in the first video, I have spoken in detail about the anatomy of the apex. What is a major apical foramen, minor apical foramen, what is the exact method of taking a working length, and what are the recent modifications that we need to make when we are taking a working length reading. I recommend you that you go back to the to this video and see it more in detail before seeing this part 2 of the series. The link of the first part of the video is there on the top end of your screen. Please go ahead and see it. Now in this second part of the video, I am discussing more in detail as to what are the factors that affect our working length readings. Yes, there are few things that we need to understand so that we don't alter the working length reading and we don't misjudge, which might eventually lead to intra-treatment errors. Now there are few internal factors and there are few external factors which actually may alter the working length reading. Now when it comes to internal factors, caries, second instrument in the canal, root fractures, crack, resorption, solvents, patency, all of these may give you wrong readings. And when it comes to external factors, there are crowns, there might be amalgam, saliva, blood, all of these may alter the readings. Now, before I explain all these factors in detail, the blood that I'm mentioning here is not the blood which is inside the canal. I'm not talking about the pulpal blood. It is something which is related to the gingival blood. Okay. So, first and foremost, does the metal of the file has any negative effect with our working length reading? Well, two kinds of metals are used in endodontics today, that is the stainless steel and the nickel titanium. Irrespective whether I am using a stainless steel or whether it is nickel titanium, there is no effect when I am taking working length reading with either of the two. So either if you're using your rotary file or whether you're using your manual K file, irrespective of any of the metal, your working length is not going to get hampered. Now, second instrument in the canal. This is very commonly seen with the mesobuccal roots of the maxillary molar or maybe the mesial roots in the mandibular molar. So, let's take an example here of the mesial root of a mandibular molar. Whenever two canals are joining in the mesial root, the mesolingual is always the straight canal and the mesobuccal joins the mesolingual canal. Now, if there is already an instrument inside the mesolingual canal and if I am taking a working length for the mesobuccal root, then the connection is going to get completed and you may have a beyond apex reading or at apex reading even if you have not reached till the apex. Therefore, whenever you are taking working length reading, see to that there is always one file in one canal and rest of the canals do not have any kind of material inside them. Now coming on to patency. Yes, if the canal is blocked due to some reason, the working length is going to get hampered. See, patency is a very important concept in endodontics. Of course, patency does not mean that we are taking the 10 number or 15 number K file 3 to 4 millimeter beyond apex. No, patency practically means that we are exiting the canal just 0.5 to 1 millimeter beyond apex with a 10 number file. Now, it is important that we make a connection with the PDL while doing the working length reading. And if the canal is blocked due to debris or due to some kind of curvature, the apex locator is not going to give you proper reading. So, see to that your canal is always patent during working length determination. Coming on to pre-flaring. Now there is this habit of many dentists that we before I start my working length reading, we always pre-flare and make the file loose in the canal. However, research has shown that whether we are doing pre-flaring or not, there is no difference in the working length reading. So maybe if possible, you can definitely eliminate this step So once I have opened my pulse chamber, I can directly start with my working length reading without pre-flaring. Moving on to the apical foramen diameter. Yes, this is a very important concept that you need to understand, because if the diameter of the foramen is 0.2 millimeters, that is, if the apical foramen diameter is equal to my 20 number K file, then there is not going to be any effect on my working length reading. However, if the apical foramen diameter is more than 0.2 millimeters, then there is a very high chance that you may have some kind of discrepancies in your working length reading, especially in open apex cases. The size of the foramen is quite large, and if I'm using smaller size files, then there is a very high chance that I may go wrong with my working length reading. So whenever you have a case of an open apex or blunderbuss apex, please use the edges, that is radiographs or maybe CBCT, to confirm your working length reading that you have taken with an apex locator. But such kind of cases are very limited in our practice. Maybe just 1% of my cases. Otherwise, 99% of the time, I'm always taking my working length reading with the apex locator without taking a single radiograph. Coming on to pacemakers. Now, the pacemaker also has some kind of electric circuit which is there inside it, and there were reservations in earlier days that whether we should be using apex locators in patients who already have a pacemaker installed in their body. But recent research has shown that apex locators can safely be used without any alterations or without any problems that may encounter with these pacemakers or patients who have pacemakers installed. Coming on to root fracture, cracks, internal resorption or perforation. Now these kind of situations have some kind of internal connection with the periodontium. Yes, so suppose if I have a case where there is one of the situation present, then before even reaching the apex locator is going to show beyond apex reading. So let's take an example. The approximate length of the tooth is 18 millimeters. Then maybe at 10 or maybe at 12 millimeters only, the apex locator is going to show you beyond apex reading. So always correlate this with radiograph, that why exactly is a apex locator giving you the beyond apex reading. Moving on to prosthetic crowns. Now there are situations where we are doing a root canal through the crown. Now if I am using my apex locator, there is a possibility that the file may touch the prosthetic crown, that is whether it is metal or for that matter even if there is amalgam. And if the file touches the amalgam or maybe the prosthetic crown, then there is going to be completion of the circuit and the apex locator is going to give you beyond apex reading. So a simple hack that you can use is whatever the area of the file where there are no flutes, you can simply coat it with Teflon to avoid any conduction between the file and the prosthetic crown or the amalgam, and then take the working length reading. Now another important factor that may alter the working length reading is gadapocha that remains in the canal. Now if there is some part of the gadapocha which is sticking on the walls, there is a possibility that the electric circuit may not get complete and the apex locator may give jump in readings. Now when I was doing a lot of research, I came across one article which mentioned that when we are using gadapocha solvents, in retreatment cases, the apex locators always give reduced accuracy. Whenever possible, the article recommends that never to use gadapocha solvents. Now when it comes to removal of gadapocha from the root canal, it is always a very difficult situation, and it is most of the time very challenging to remove gadapocha from the canal in retreatment cases. I have made a video on the same. You can go back and see this video of gadapocha removal where I have easily explained the most economic, the most fastest and the best way of removing gadapocha from the canal. The link of the same is there at the top end of your screen. You can go ahead and watch the same. Now coming to the next part of our presentation as to when should we determine the working length. Now once I have opened the plug chamber, should I directly start using the apex locator, or maybe I should be pre-flaring it, or whether I should be doing a glide path preparation and then take my working length reading? So to answer this question, the easiest form is whether I should be taking the working length reading before glide path preparation or after. The answer is always before. Yes, always take your working length reading before glide path preparation. Now, glide path is nothing but a step where we are, creating some kind of passage for our rotary files to glide smoothly till the apical third. Now, why do I say so that the working length reading has to be done before glide path preparation? Now, by doing so many cases day to day in our practice, we have this approximate or arbitrary measurement in our mind that, when it comes to central incisors, they have an approximate length of 21-22 millimeters, or maybe it is a molar, then they have an approximate length of 18 millimeters. So for example, if I have not taken my working length reading and I directly start with my glide path preparation, and it is registered in my mind that okay, a central incisor or maybe a molar, it has 21 or 18 millimeters respective working length. So at 21 millimeters I start doing my glide path preparation. Now actually, clinically there is a very high possibility that this arbitrary working length will always be wrong, and actually for 2 to 3 millimeters I am continuously bombarding the PDL with repetitive strokes of my instrument, and eventually this leads to post-operative or inter-operative flare-up, and then this may lead to post-operative or inter-operative pain or maybe bleeding from the canal. Again, this is a inter-treatment error. Of course, these things can be managed, but it always leaves negative impact on the patients. That I did a root canal at this particular clinic and it pained me a lot. Now, when it comes to post-operative pain after root canal treatment, I have a YouTube video on the same. The link of which is there at the top end of your screen. Please go ahead and watch the same. Moving on to the last part of our presentation, that how do you maintain our apex locator? Yes, maintenance is always an important aspect when it comes to any electronic equipment in our dental practice. The apex locator that I have bought was in 2011 and today's year is 2021. For 10 years, the apex locator, I have not spent a single money on its maintenance. There are few things that I always follow and which I would like to share with you. First and important is always cover your apex locator with some kind of wrapping, transparent wrapping film. What I use is those transparent food wrap that we get in the local supermarket store. So I always cover most of my equipments with the same, be it apex locator, be it endomotor, be it my light cure gun, etc. So it keeps the apex locator safe from any liquid falling on it, or it keeps it safe from any dirt also. Coming on to the next part is that only two components of the apex locators can be autoclaved. Rest of the components have to be disinfected with our cold sterilization. So the file clip and the lip clip, these two components have to be autoclaved. Rest of the components have to be cold sterilized. Now, I've seen in many clinics that once the endodontic treatment is completed, they have this habit of wrapping the wire around the apex locator and coiling it around. Now, what happens here is that the wire connection, where the wire connects the apex locator, there is a lot of tension created in that, and there is a possibility that the internal circuit might get disturbed, or the wire internally, the copper fibers which are there in the fibers, they might break, and then eventually we are wondering what went wrong. So never coil the wire around the apex locator. Once your job is done, just remove it from the apex locator and keep it aside. Do not roll it, do not make any coil of the same. Coming on to the batteries. Now, do not wait until the last percentage of your battery is exhausted, and then you go ahead and you change the batteries. No, once the apex rotator starts blinking that the battery power is now coming to minimal, please go ahead and change the batteries. Now when it comes to batteries, there are no great batteries like Duracell. Okay, I would highly recommend that you use Duracell batteries. Now the rechargeable batteries which are available do not work, so always use non-rechargeable Duracell batteries. Coming on to the cleaning of these ends of the file clip and the lip clip. Now there is a possibility that there might be some kind of depositions in the end of these clips. So always, once the file clip and the lip clip has been used, clean this with a soft cotton or soft tissue paper and remove these deposits from the file clip and the lip clip. So this was all about the apex rotator, as to what things can alter the reading of the apex rotator, how to maintain the apex rotator, and when should you take the working length reading. Now in the third part of the video, we have a special guest who is going to share his views on how to take a working length reading and other things related to the apex rotator. Stay tuned till the next video.